Okay, you guys heard of Larry Boy and the Rimmerweed, right? Well, what if I told you that there was a storybook adaptation of this video? Well, we got it here, courtesy of the VeggieTales Bible Storybook. Hooray, I guess? So what possessed me to revisit this storybook adaptation after my 7-year-old whatsoever critic review of this storybook adaptation? Well, gee, I don't know. Ask these inanimate objects. Check this out. And I even got this soundtracked. How about that? But anyways, this storybook adaptation came from the lovely VeggieTales Bible Storybook, as mentioned. And it was brought to us by Zonder Kids, which is a part of Zonder Van, which, by the way, is responsible for publishing the Larry Boy Cartoon Adventures books. This book was published in 2006, around the same time as Ba-Bam! And plus, it was still around the time when I was still playing Nintendo GameCube. Anyways, we get 2 illustrators for this. We got Casey Jones. Think that guy sounds familiar. Wasn't he from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Of course not that one, because, yeah, we look him up as an illustrator. But we can find something about Robert Van, thanks to Big Idea Fandom, which he was responsible for 5 other VeggieTales books, so that's good on him. Speaking of Big Idea Fandom, guess who else is on this list? Karen Poth, who actually wrote the story for Larry Boy and the Rimmerweed. Well, wrote the adaptation version of it. I also recognize her from another storybook called Larry Boy in Tip Top Cape Shape. Try saying that 3 times in a row. Alright, so I'm just gonna forewarn you guys that the storybook adaptation is gonna leave out a lot of stuff. Yes, there are a lot of differences between the video and the storybook here. So are you guys ready to witness the condensed version of Larry Boy and the Rimmerweed? I know I am. Hello, boys and girls. I have a new hobby, says Larry the Cucumber. Gardening.
Nothing lifts the spirit more than an afternoon dabbling in the horticultural arts.
And I'm really good at it too. I'm going to enter my dandelion patch, yada yada yada. Okay, there's like a garden show and someone is entering the contest with poison ivy. Well, that's what somebody said, and there's like a rumor going on about this person with the poison ivy. But Bob is here to say, no, that may not be the truth. In fact, let me tell you this story about rumors going awry. And then we get the colorful introduction to Larry Boy and the Rimmerweed. By the way, guys, remember when Larry Boy took on the Milk Money Bandit? Oh, I can't wait to see that in this version. What? And there's your first problem. We don't get that encounter with the Milk Money Bandit here, which, by the way, is one of my top 5 most epic Larry Boy scenes in forever. No, instead we get Alfred talking to the kids at school. But get this, you guys, get this. Thank you so much for having me, Alfred the butler said as he finished his career day speech at the Veggie Valley Grade School. Okay, career day. How come I don't remember that from the video? Oh, that's right, it wasn't even in the video. Something tells me that Karen Poth saw that scene in the Santa Claus where some random person talks to the kids during a career day thingy, and then the kids just stare at him. Now that I think about it, the original Rimmerweed video might have gotten inspiration from that movie after all. And again, here it's just blatantly referencing the Santa Claus. Guess it was intended to be a Christmas movie. So I'm not going to nitpick much about them changing up the lines and what they're saying in comparison to the movie, but I'm really going to go hard on them skipping a whole lot from the video itself. Junior and Laura get out of school and they talk about Alfred and they come up with their speculation that Alfred might be a robot, and then the weed shows up and says, I'm a talking weed, you're a talking carrot, your point was?
I'm a
a talking weed. You're a talking carrot. Your point was.
Come on, tell me what it is you're keeping to yourselves.
So come on. Tell me what it is you're keeping to yourselves.
Didn't your parents ever teach you to share?
Did your parents ever teach you to share?
I think I can really nail the rumorweed part, you know. Okay, so the kids explain that Mr. Alfred might be a robot. Tomato, tomato. But oh no, we get moments later. And then the story just goes in fast forward and you're like, okay, Rumorweed shows up to this person's house and she introduces herself to another house. It's like, well, it looks like this book is trying to speed us up here, so... Okay, so when is LarryBoy even showing up in this thing? Hasn't even showed up. Like I said, they cut out the part where LarryBoy takes on the Milk Money Bandit. So imagine being a kid and 100% new to LarryBoy and the Rumorweed, and you haven't seen the video yet. You haven't seen the video. Your introduction was in this book. Do you think a kid would want to root for LarryBoy? It's like, oh, okay, well, where's this superhero? Oh, there he is. He shows up here. He shows up in the 4th page. Okay, fine. I'll give you those bonus points for putting in his catchphrase. And the mayor picked up the phone and called LarryBoy. Well, actually, she called Larry the Cucumber and told him to get LarryBoy. And the thing about the Larry signal not working during the daytime and yada yada yada, so they had to give him a call. You're somewhere in the ballpark, person who wrote this, but not quite. So picked up the phone, called LarryBoy, page turn. Alright, it's like, I'm sorry, but they skipped through a whole bunch of scenes. Like, even the important scenes, like, how does LarryBoy find out about the Rumorweed? How does he and Alfred come to the conclusion that they need to go underground to take out the Motherweed? And was LarryBoy even aware that this whole mission could be dangerous for him? None of that is explained here. It's just like, okay, well, we put you in one scene. Okay, go to the other scene. It's like they just throw LarryBoy into a scene. This is giving LarryBoy and the Rumorweed self-inflicted plot holes. She was so big he couldn't defeat her. Well, I wonder how they came up with that conclusion. Again, there are important scenes that are cut out. Especially the Larry Cave scene, which I like to make fun of at their expense. LarryBoy needs our help. Okay, how did Alfred get to town? Well, I skipped the part with him and his stupid scooter going 5 miles an hour. But no one would help Alfred because they thought he was a dangerous robot. LarryBoy and Bumbleberg were doomed. I guess this storybook adaptation is trying to off itself. And then there's this part where Alfred gets captured by the Rumorweed, and she's on a big building, and Junior's dad steps in. And the kids confess that they created this rumor. And then Dad Asparagus has to be the voice of reason, just like in the original video. Okay, nice words, and the whole town beginning saying nice things about Alfred. Rumorweed turning into a flower. God doesn't want us to spread words that can hurt. He wants us to spread nice words. Okay, that seems all fine and dandy. I mean, they're all happy at the very end. But there's just one problem. What about LarryBoy? It's like, what happened to him? Like, they couldn't even come up with the part where they say that, oh, LarryBoy was beaten up by the Rumorweed. Or when LarryBoy finally managed to get out of the sewer once everything was all said and done. Wasn't in the book either. So I'm telling you, there are a lot of missed opportunities. There were a lot of scenes missing from this so-called storybook adaptation. And again, if you're new to LarryBoy and the Rumorweed, this was your introduction to LarryBoy and the Rumorweed, it's like you could care less about LarryBoy. Now that I think about this even further, and how the book is structured as so, have a Bible storybook while also having like a regular storybook. Like, it just has like an identity crisis. You couldn't just make your Bible storybook and regular storybook into two separate books. And plus, you chop up the story of Larry Boy and the Rumorweed. There are scenes missing, there are parts missing, and it just makes Larry Boy feel less of a superhero and just like some random character that they throw in. Or if you want to go down the route of cartoon adventures, make a chapter book. Make a novelization of Larry Boy and the Rumorweed. In this way, when Larry Boy and the Rumorweed is made into a book, you don't have to sacrifice certain scenes. You don't have to condense it to where it makes little sense when you think about it. Especially for kids that haven't watched this to begin with. So don't let this be kids' introduction to Larry Boy and the Rumorweed. It's like, Rumorweed is on DVD. You can even pick up the double feature where you get the first Larry Boy installment and the second installment. Double feature. Buy it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to write a condensed version of my life. Okay, maybe we leave out the part where I was born, the part where I graduated from high school, the part where I started this channel. Just say, ooh, out of nowhere, out of the blue, LarryBoy Fanatic started a YouTube channel. Nah, it wouldn't make sense.
It's like, look at me, I'm a Rumorweed. A tiny little story is all I need. Well, actually, a condensed version, which, congratulations, you made a condensed version about me.
How did she grow big? They never explained that. Help me, Master Larry. I'm being tied up somehow.
Well, nah, I'm too busy standing here looking cool.
Just like in the book.
Nailed it.